How you doing, YouTube? Matt Massa Beer Reviews, back with yet another review. A little bit of new brewery time. Shilling Beer Co. is their Alaxandr 10. This is their Czech style and Pilsner here. 5% alcohol by volume. Yeah. A little bit of Littleton, New Hampshire. There you go. Brewery time. This comes courtesy of my boy Tim. He said, hey man, love to send you some beers from up my way. Actually, Massachusetts way, but this is Rhode Island. Close enough. And yeah, kind of excited to dive into it. New brewery time, little Czech Pilsner. Right up my alley. Not the glass for a Pilsner, but that's what I have. Label-wise, there's something simplistic about this label that I really do dig. It's just, there's no pomp to it. It's just simple, and I kind of appreciate that. I mean, that looks like a Pilsner, you know what I mean? Rich golden glow, very soft carbonation. There's a little bit of particulate floating around in there, so I'm assuming this isn't filtered. This is them kind of crashing the beer as hard as possible and then getting that cleanliness out of it rather than filtering it, which kind of turns me on a little bit. Just under a pinky finger, crisp white head, everything you'd expect from a beautiful little Pilsner. See if we can get a nose. Yeah, I mean, it's tiny. It's supposed to be tiny. It's a Pilsner. But it's light. The Pilsner malt is light. It leans a little bit lighter than what I expect from like a traditional Czech kind of Pilsner. Even the hoppiness doesn't really come off on the nose. Not that you're going to get an overt kind of hoppiness in Czech Pilsner, but obviously there. Just light Pilsner malt, a little bit of soft generic bittering. Done and done. Not even a big lager component to the beer either. Very light, very crushable. Somewhere between what you'd expect from a Czech Pils and an American Pilsner, somewhere around those lines. Let's dive in. Cheers. That's nice. I mean, it's really well made. There's zero as far as negativity comes. But just a little bit smaller than kind of what I'd expect off of Czech Pils. Again, I'm not gonna stare and harp on it. They sell Czech style Pilsner. It's not traditional to a T, but it's just a little bit softer than what you come to expect. But it's really well made. Like I said, very crisp. Malt comes off very light, very soft. Not an aggressive kind of crackeriness in there. There's not a huge lager component to it. Soft little funk, nothing too crazy. And that bittering's nice. It's not heavy. Again, it really does fall between what you'd expect from an American lager and a Czech lager, somewhere in between there. And that's a great place to be perfectly honest with you, because it lends itself to an infinite amount of crushability. When I think of Pilsner, I think of drinking beer. Even though I could sit here and wax poetic about a Pilsner and tell you about all the things I love about them, in the grand scheme of things, it's just, there's something about the drinkability, the crispness, the cleanliness of a lager that is the best part about it. It is to facilitate the conversation, not to be the conversation, even though we're having that conversation right now. And that's where this beer lands perfectly, in that it's just drinking beer in the most positive way possible. I'm not saying that in a negative light, but that's where a lot of times kind of craft Pilsner kind of jumps the shark a little bit, is because when I think of Pilsner, I think of crushing beers. When I think of crushing beers, I think of drinking a session of beers or throwing back liters of beer. Typically, when you're talking about Pilsner from a craft brewery, 4-pack, pounders, in a perfect world, you're looking at $10 or less. But more often than not, that's not the case. You're looking at usually $14 or more. So it kind of doesn't. It's a great thing that is in a market that is weird. It's like kind of like out of its comfort zone a little bit in that sense, because I think of crushing Pilsner, I think of 15 racks, I think of 30 racks. Do you know what I mean? Twofers if you're from Canada. I think about quantity, not over quality, but I think about quantity. And, a $15 4-pack of Pilsner doesn't really lend itself to that kind of conversation, but they're good nonetheless. Let's put it this way, I love them. I love that American breweries do them, and I love having them. I just have a hard time picking them when they are above a certain price point. That's just personal preference. I actually don't know what the price point on this. I'll kind of cue that at the end, but it's really well made, crisp, clean. Like I said, falls between that American lager, Czech lager kind of thing for me, and is infinitely crushable. Is it one of the better Pilsners we've had? It was like, yes. Is it, Mount Rushmore status? I don't think so, but it wants to be. There's just some that do it a little bit better, especially from the American end of things, even if it is Czech inspired. Tasty AF, let's put it that way. Value and availability, no idea. So Tim or somebody out there in the New Hampshire-ish distro area, let me know what you paid for this and leave you with if you like what will you like this. If you like lager, if you like Pilsner, if you don't want something as boring as American Pilsner, I don't think that's boring, but traditional American, kind of like when you think of American Pilsner, I think of like American adjunct lager Pilsner or Czech Pilsner. You want something in between, this is the deal. So there you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Down there if you want to talk about it. Massive Beers if you want to check me out doing the social media stuff. Yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully enjoying a little bit Pilsner right now. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers.